Yo, what is up? So, I'm going to be showing you a fast guide to unlock the Cherry Blossom Biome inside of Plants vs. Brainrots. Now, just in case you haven't seen it yet, this is what it looks like. Obviously, we've got the pink trees. As you can see, it looks pretty nice. And then also, this is the podium right here. Yeah, it's looking pretty sick. The only thing I will say is I don't think I really like the color of the grass, which I know might sound a bit weird to say, but I do really like the trees. I kind of wish the grass was pink like this. But yeah, anyway, definitely make sure you leave a like and you subscribe. Sometimes I do giveaways, so definitely subscribe for that. Now let's begin, because this Cherry Blossom Biome, which by the way, in the actual biomes tab, it says Cherry Grove, but I'm pretty sure on the Discord, the devs have called it the Cherry Blossom Biome. But then also in here, it says Cherry Grove. So whichever one you want to call it. I think Cherry Blossom sounds nicer, I think. So I'm probably just going to call it that. Now, this biome is not easy to unlock. So if you are, kind of newish to the game, you're definitely going to struggle. Well, first of all, obviously, to get the Cherry Blossom, you do need to unlock, obviously the grasslands and then the desert, which will be 25 missions from the grasslands to the desert, and then 25 desert missions to unlock the jungle, and then 25 jungle missions to unlock the Cherry Grove. Also, initially, when you start the game, by the way, this podium won't be here. To unlock the podium, you need to complete 25 story missions to actually unlock the podium first, to actually see it spawn in. So yeah, do keep that in mind. I know a lot of people are telling me they can't even see this podium because you need to do 25 of the basic ones first, and then it will spawn in eventually. Now, the reason it's so difficult is because when the Brainrots spawn in for the story missions, they do have a lot of health, and also they're pretty fast. And also one thing I've noticed is some of the Brainrots, basically when it spawns in during the missions, they'll all go down one lane randomly. And that's how you can basically, lose the story missions a lot. Well, that's how I was losing anyway. So I'm going to try my best to provide you with a lot of tips and tricks on this because, yeah, I know the struggle. Trust me. Now, first of all, I'm just going to get this out of the way because this was a massive game changer. Someone mentioned this to me during my live stream, and yeah, this guy saved me. I'm not even kidding. And that is to do with the Bloom Ascendant. This card is absolutely amazing. It's now my favorite card in the game because without it, I don't think I would have been able to complete the story missions. I won't lie. Now, the thing is, I had this on before, but for some reason, I didn't think of doing this until someone explained it to me. Basically, what you can do is, when you get a story mission, it will pop up on your screen, it will have a 15-minute countdown, but then after the 15 minutes, it will have a ready button. So you can activate the story whenever you choose to, which is very crucial because with this card, obviously, it only activates after slaying 1,000 Brainrots, which does take some time to actually get it filled up. But as you can see right now, this is a good scenario. So let's just pretend I've got a mission on the side of my screen and the ready button is ready. What I would do is I would wait for this card to basically hit 1,000. Well, make sure it ticks over, by the way, so it resets. And then once I've got the buffs activated, I would then start the story mission. Because, by the way, if you didn't know, the Bloom Ascendant, basically what it does is, as you can see, after slaying 1,000 Brainrots, buffs all your plant stats by 135% for 5 minutes, which is absolutely insane. By the way, the reason mine is so high, the percentage, is because I've actually got a tier 3 Bloom Ascendant. Don't worry, this card is still good. Even if you're only using a tier 1 or tier 2, it still definitely massively helps you out. Okay, so here you go. Look, it's about to go over 1,000. And obviously, once it goes over that 1,000 mark, all the boosts are going to be activated. So, okay, so there we go. So all my plants have now got 135% for 5 minutes. So obviously, I would start my story right now while all my plants are basically supercharged. And yeah, if you do this, you will notice that it makes a huge improvement because I'll be honest, I was struggling to do the story missions. I just kept failing and failing and failing. I was literally, at one point, I was using hundreds of frost grenades. I was using Medusa heads. I mean, I was using everything in the kitchen sink to try and complete these missions, and I kept failing. But after hearing about, obviously, yeah, the Bloom Ascendant, it was kind of easy after that, to be honest with you, as long as you time them right. Now, there are other cards you can use if you want. One card that you can choose to use this if you want, but it's called the Frozen Frenzy, basically. This is for if you're struggling. Basically, it deals 55% more damage to frozen Brainrots. Now, this can be good because let's say I've got a frozen grenade or, a frost grenade, sorry, or even the frost blower. So, obviously, if I'm dealing 55% more damage to frozen Brainrots, well, it's going to be hard to show because my garden is just breaking them instantly with the buffs I've just activated from the Bloom Ascendant. Let's just do it over here. So, I'm going to use a frost grenade. Obviously, if it was on my garden, you know, I'd be doing 55% more. But this can be really good because let's say you're really struggling and you've got like a brain rot from the mission that's like right here. If you freeze it, basically, you know, it's going to be doing that more damage. So you're more likely to not fail. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm sure you know what I mean. I don't need to go any more detail about that. Now, refocus is also another good card. Every 35 seconds, move the highest HP brain rot to the highest row. So that one can be clutch. You can have that one on if you want. Tile Trio, this just does more damage. If 3 plants of the same type are in the same straight line, they gain 25% increased damage. So yeah, basically, oh yeah. Oh, also, actually, wait, they've actually fixed it. Didn't I swear this used to say, because I was about to explain it, but if 3 plants of the same type are in a straight line, I'm pretty sure it used to say if they were in the same tile, but a lot of people used to get confused about that, but I think they've actually changed it so it now says straight line. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, because back in the day, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this if my memory isn't serving me correctly, but pretty sure I used to say have all your plants in a tile, which a lot of people were confused about because obviously you can only have one plant in technically, you know, one tile, but it always meant just have it in a line. But it looks like they've corrected like the wording there. Now, as you can see, I mean, I'm pretty sure this card, by the way, I think you can double up. So what I mean by that is, let's say you've got 3 mangoes on one line, right? You can also have 3 star fruits on the same line. And I think they both get the buffs. I don't know. I think that's what I kind of tried to do. I've got a scenario where I can show you. Let's have a look. So, okay. Right, now this line back here is it's a bit harder to see, but as you can see, like, I've got 1 mango, 2 mango, 3 mango, which is going to be having the Tile Trio buff. And then also I've got 3 star fruits. The 3rd star fruit is back here. So yeah. And then also the final card, which I highly recommend. If there's any card, well, actually, the Bloom Ascendant is probably the most important card, but this card is definitely the second. It's called the Doom Bloom. It is a legendary card, so it's not the easiest thing to get in the world, but I highly recommend you try and get it. Try and get a tier 3 if you can. At the moment, I've got a tier 2. I'm not even kidding. I'm 1 Doom Bloom away from getting a tier 3. So, yeah, I'm very, very close. I just need more card packs. I've actually ran out completely of the card packs. Oh, I've got Halloween ones, but you actually can't get them in the Halloween packs. So, yeah. Because, I mean, this card is OP. 40% increased damage dealt by plants, and that's with every single plant. If you don't have this card on, you're missing out, I'm telling you. Definitely get that card. Now, also, there's some other, you know, things you can do that's definitely going to help you out. Now, obviously, when you start the story mission, it is random on which row your brain rots are going to go down. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that at the back here, as you can see, you can actually see your total DPS for each row. Now, mine is like super buff right now. Okay, wait, look, it actually just disappeared. Did you just see that? I was going to say, the reason mine was saying like 10 mil and 5 mil a second ago was because I had the Bloom Ascendant card activated, obviously, from earlier. But now it's gone back to normal. So as you can see, I have tried my best to get them all equal, like all over 1 million each. There's no point having, let's just say this row's got 5 million and then this row's got like 500k and then 200k or something, you know what I mean? Because chances are in the story mode, I mean, if you look out and all of them go down, you know, your 5 million row, then obviously you're going to win. But if the brain rots decide to go down your, let's say your 200k damage row, then you're going to fail. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that each row has a similar amount of damage. Now, obviously, there are going to be some exceptions. So, for example, this one's got 2.2 million. Obviously, that's fine because that's just how OP this Frozen Shroom is. But as you can see, I've got nothing else on the row. So yeah, but yeah, just try your best to get them all as equal as possible because that's definitely going to help you out. Also, when you're doing this, obviously keep in mind, if you've got Tile Trio on, you're going to need 3 of the same plants in each row, which yeah, you're definitely going to need to do some organizing for that. But another thing I'd recommend is obviously in the story mode, basically what happens is when the brain rots spawn in, they actually destroy the plants in order. So by the way, when they destroy your plants, don't worry, it's not permanently destroyed. When the story's over, you actually get them back. Like, so they reset, so don't worry about that. So basically my point is make sure you've got your highest damage plants at the back, because obviously, you know, for example, I wouldn't want my best plant at the front because obviously that's going to be the first one to be broken. You want your highest damage plants right at the back so they can be constantly doing the damage. And then basically all your other plants, they're basically just like decoys, basically, or, you know, basically like bait, just so your biggest damage plants can do, you know, tank all the damage, I guess. Because as you can see, like back here, I've got, so let's just say this Shroom, obviously this is doing basically 1 million DPS a second. And then at the front, I've got a 99k one. And then back here, I've got like 300k, 270k. And as you can see, what it should be, the closer we get to the start here, basically like the damage is just going down and down and down. Well, actually I say that, but actually no, this is not completely organized. Hold on. I was moving my plants around earlier, so this might not be as organized as I would like. Okay, so this is 86k. Obviously that one should really be at the front. And then this is 142k. So we'll put that one there. So yeah, just in order of damage. And then that one goes there. And then this one goes here. Okay, so this should now be perfect. So 308k, 270k, 208k, 142k, 122k, 115k, and then 86k. It's just so your weaklings basically get destroyed first. Because, yeah, like I said, you don't want your best damage plants to be broken first. That'd be very bad. Now, obviously, also what you can do... Now, this only works if you're, like, insanely OP. Like, I'm talking, like, you're doing, like, tens of millions of damage or something with your plants. Because you can technically just AFK do this. So, like, if you get, like, a macro and you can, like, basically... You know when on the side of your screen, you know it says, like, ready to do the battle. Basically, if you record a macro where you click ready on the right side of your screen and then you click the second ready button in the middle of your screen, and then also when you do that, by the way, when you're recording your macro, make sure you click around in the middle, because there's also a continue button when the battle finishes or the story finishes. So there's 3 buttons, and if you've got that on loop, then yeah, you'll be able to just basically auto do them. Now, the reason like 99% of people won't be able to do that is because basically you'll just be failing the missions because they are really difficult. You can't really AFK them necessarily. You have to time the Bloom Ascendant card with your you know, story missions when it's ready. Because I know me, for example, when I was doing that, like with the macro, it just didn't work because I just kept failing and failing. But yeah, hopefully you found this useful. I feel like this was a very, very informative video. Definitely make sure you share this, because yeah, I feel like I went pretty crazy with this. Like lots and lots of tips and tricks there. If you got a friend that's struggling, or maybe your brother's struggling, or I don't know, your dad's struggling or something, definitely send them this video or even share it on Discord. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe, comment what you think. Appreciate you, and have a good day. Join my Discord as well, by the way. Make sure you join my Discord. Okay, bye-bye.